empathy. The story does not end with crowns or roars, because leadership is never a finished journey. Even after peace is restored, the path of a leader continues in silence, shaped not by applause, but by choices made when no one is watching. In the Pride Lands, where the wind carries ancient voices and the earth remembers every step taken upon it, two leaders walk different paths bound by the same purpose. Simba and Keon, king and guardian, past and future. Simba stands upon Pride Rock as the sun rises, its golden light stretching across the savannah. To many, this sight represents strength, authority, and stability. But to Simba, it represents responsibility. Every blade of grass, every shadow moving in the distance, every life, depending on the balance of the land, rests upon his decisions. He does not roar to remind others of his power. He stands quietly, listening to the land itself. In moments of stillness, Simba hears his father's voice, not as a command, but as guidance. Mufasa taught him that a true king does not stand above the circle of life, but within it. That lesson echoes now more than ever. Simba understands that leadership often means standing alone, carrying burdens others may never see. When drought threatens the land, when borders must be defended, when old enemies test the peace, Simba must choose not what is easiest, but what is right. His strength lies in restraint. He knows when to act, and more importantly, when not to. Scars. Rain taught him what happens when power is driven by fear and hunger. Simba refuses to rule that way. His authority is calm, steady, and earned through hardship. He does not demand loyalty. He inspires it through consistency and wisdom. Yet leadership is never free from doubt. There are nights when Simba looks across the darkened plains and wonders if his caution slows progress. If honoring tradition sometimes prevents change, he fears making the wrong choice, not for himself, but for everyone who depends on him. But these doubts do not weaken him. They sharpen him. A king who questions himself remains aware. A king who stops questioning becomes dangerous. While Simba rules from the heights, Keon walks among the land itself. He moves through tall grass, across rocky paths, and along riverbanks, always alert. The Pride Lands know his presence, not because of ceremony, but because of action. Keon sees the fear in young animals' eyes when danger approaches. He hears the concerns of those who feel unseen. And he responds. Keon's leadership is visible, personal, and immediate. When trouble rises, he stands at the front, not behind others. He does not ask his friends to face danger alone. He faces it with them. From a young age, Keon learned that leadership is not about control, but protection. The Lion Guard was never about power. It was about unity. Yet responsibility came early, and with it, struggle. Carrying the roar of the elders was not just a gift. It was a weight. Kion learned quickly that even power meant to protect could become destructive if guided by anger or fear. When his emotions overwhelmed him, when his desire to protect turned into recklessness, he faced a painful truth. Leadership requires balance over time. Kion learned that being a leader does not mean carrying every burden alone. He learned to trust his team, to listen when others spoke, and to step back when needed. True leadership, he realized, is not proven by how much you carry, but by how well you lift others. As seasons passed, the Pride Lands watched both leaders grow. Simba's rule brought stability. Life returned where darkness once ruled. The land healed because its king respected the balance of nature and the wisdom of the past. Keon's presence brought confidence. Threats were faced quickly. Young protectors learned courage not from stories, but from example. The annals of the Pride Lands saw two paths of leadership, both valid, both necessary. Simba taught endurance. Keon taught adaptability. Simba preserved legacy. Keon inspired change. There were moments when their paths crossed, when king and guardian stood together beneath the open sky. In those moments, the Pride Lands witnessed something rare. A bridge between generations. Simba represented wisdom shaped by loss and recovery. Keon represented hope shaped by responsibility and teamwork. Neither path was complete on its own. Simba saw in Keon the future of leadership. A generation that valued empathy as much as strength. Keon saw in Simba the foundation that made his own role possible. A king who understood that leadership was not about ruling, but serving. Both leaders learned humility. Simba learned that even a king must listen. Keon learned that even a protector must rest. Leadership demanded balance, not perfection. Mistakes would happen. Fear would return. But growth came from how those moments were faced. As the sun set over the Pride Lands, casting long shadows across the earth, the circle of life continued its endless rhythm. Not because one leader was stronger than the other, but because leadership itself evolved. And as the wind carried whispers of the past and promises of the future, the story moved forward. Not toward an ending, but toward something greater. The Pride Lands do not remain still. Even in peace, the world moves, changes, and tests those sworn to protect it. As time flows forward, the roles of Simba and Kion deepen. Shaped not by grand battles alone, but by countless quiet moments where leadership is tested in subtle ways. For Simba, the challenges of kingship evolve, the land flourishes. Again, herds return, and the balance of the circle of life stabilizes. Yet, prosperity brings new questions. Disputes arise between territories, old rivalries resurface in softer forms, and decisions must be made that affect generations yet unborn. Simba learns that ruling in times of peace can be more complex than ruling in times of war, too. There are moments when animals come before him with opposing needs. One group seeks expansion, another seeks preservation. Simba must listen carefully, weighing each voice without favor. He remembers Mufasa's words, that everything exists in delicate balance. A king who tips the scale too far risks unraveling what he seeks to protect. In these moments, Simba's patience becomes his greatest weapon. He listens longer than others expect. He speaks less than others want. But when he decides, his choice carries the weight of wisdom. Simba's leadership is quiet but constant. He does not rush progress, allows growth to unfold naturally, trusting the circle of life to guide the land. Yet this restraint is often misunderstood. Some see it as hesitation. Some question whether the king who once charged into danger has become too careful. Simba hears these whispers, and they trouble him. But he also knows that leadership is not about pleasing everyone. It is about protecting what matters most, even when the path is lonely. Keon's challenges take a different shape. As the Lion Guard continues to protect the Pride Lands, new threats emerge, not always physical, not always obvious. Some dangers come disguised as opportunity. Others come from within. Keon learns that not every problem can be solved by strength or speed. Some require understanding, patience, and trust. There are days when Keon feels the pressure of expectations. Too many. He is not just a leader, but a symbol. Young animals look to him as proof that courage and teamwork can overcome any obstacle. Keon feels responsible not only for their safety, but for their belief. This responsibility weighs heavily on him, especially when he makes mistakes. One such mistake lingers in his memory. A moment when acting too quickly nearly caused harm. Though no lives were lost, the lesson cut deep. Keon realized that leadership is not measured by how fast you act, but by how wisely you choose. From that day on, he began to pause more, to seek counsel from his friends, to listen before leading. This shift did not weaken him. It strengthened the guard as a whole. The bond between Simba and Keon grows through these experiences. Though they walk different paths, their understanding of leadership brings them closer. 8. In quiet conversations beneath starlit skies, they share doubts, lessons, and hopes for the future. Simba speaks of the weight of legacy. Keon speaks of the fear of failing those who trust him. In these moments, they are not king and guardian. They are simply two lions, learning what it means to serve others. Simba begins to see that the future of the Pride Lands will not look exactly like its past. And that is not something to fear. Keon's leadership reflects a world that values cooperation over command, empathy over dominance. Simba understands that true legacy is not preserving the world exactly as it was, but preparing it for what it must become. Keon, in turn, gains a deeper appreciation for tradition, who learns that rules are not chains, but foundations. That wisdom passed down through generations exists for a reason. Simba's experiences remind him that progress without respect for the past can be just as dangerous as stagnation. The annals of the Pride Lands notice this balance forming. They see a kingdom guided by stability and defended by unity. Young lions grow up learning two lessons at once. From Simba, they learn patience, responsibility, and respect for life. From Keon, they learn courage, teamwork, and compassion. Together, these lessons shape a generation stronger than any before. As time passes, stories spread beyond the Pride Lands. Tales of a king who rules with wisdom and a guardian who leads with heart travel across distant territories. Some come seeking guidance, others come seeking challenge. Simba welcomes them with caution. Keon meets them with openness. Each approach serves its purpose. There are moments of tension. Moments when Simba's careful planning clashes with Keon's urgency. When tradition and change stand face to face. But these moments do not divide them. They refine them. Through respectful disagreement, they find better answers. Through trust, they maintain unity. Leadership, they learn, is not about being right. It is about being willing to learn. As seasons turn and the land continues to thrive, the circle of life grows stronger. Not because threats disappear, but because the Pride Lands are ready to face them. The foundation laid by Simba's rule and the vigilance maintained by Keon's guard create something rare. A balance where strength and kindness coexist. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world holds its breath, Simba often stands alone, gazing across the plains. He wonders what kind of world will exist long after he is gone. Will it remember his name? Will it honor his choices? Slows. He realizes then that legacy is not built on remembrance, but on continuity. If the circle of life continues, his leadership has succeeded. Keon, too, reflects during these hours. He watches younger protectors train, seeing echoes of his own journey in their determination and fear. He understands now that leadership is not about being the strongest forever. It is about preparing others to take your place. The Pride Lands move forward, shaped by two leaders who understand that leadership is not a destination, but a responsibility renewed every day. And as the sun rises again, painting the land in gold, the story continues. Not toward a final answer, but toward a lasting balance. Time leaves its mark not through sudden change, but through quiet transformation. In the Pride Lands, seasons continue their endless cycle, and with each passing year, the meaning of leadership deepens. Simba and Kion no longer measure their roles by challenges overcome, but by lives shaped, guided, and prepared for what lies ahead. Simba begins to notice how often others now act without waiting for his command. Not out of defiance, but confidence. The Pride Lands no longer rely solely on their king to maintain balance. Communities cooperate. Leaders emerge within herds. Decisions are made with thought and care. This realization fills Simba with both pride and humility. He understands then that his greatest success is not control, but trust. A king's true achievement is creating a world that can stand even when he steps aside. There are moments when Simba walks the borders of the Pride Lands alone, feeling the weight of time. His body remains strong, but his perspective has shifted. He thinks less about battles and more about wisdom, less about authority and more about guidance. When young lions approach him seeking advice, he does not give answers. Instead, he asks questions instead. He wants them to think, to understand consequences, to grow into leaders who do not depend on titles. Keon, too, feels change stirring within him. Relying Guard is no longer just a team of young protectors learning their place. They have become mentors, examples for those who follow. Keon watches as younger guards train under his guidance, making mistakes, learning patience, discovering their own strengths. He resists the urge to intervene in every moment. He knows now that growth requires space. Third is a quiet pride in stepping back. Keon learns that leadership does not fade when responsibility is shared. It multiplies. When he allows others to lead missions, to solve problems, to face challenges, the Guard grows stronger. And so does he. The bond between Simba and Kion reaches its deepest understanding during this time. Their conversations shift from strategy to philosophy. They speak of legacy not as memory, but as momentum. Simba reflects on the mistakes that shaped him. Keon reflects on the lessons that saved him from repeating those mistakes. Together, they recognize the rare harmony between experience and evolution. There comes a moment, subtle yet powerful, when Simba realizes the Pride Lands are ready for a future beyond his direct guidance. Not because he is weak, but because the land is strong. The systems he protected, the values he upheld, and the leaders he nurtured have taken root. This realization does not bring sadness. It brings peace. Keon senses this shift as well. He understands that his role is not to replace Simba, nor to follow in his exact footsteps. His purpose is different. He is a bridge, a guardian of transition. One who ensures that as leadership evolves, its heart remains unchanged. The animals of the Pride Lands feel this balance. There is less fear of uncertainty, more confidence in unity. Disagreements are resolved through dialogue. Strength is measured not by dominance, but by fairness. The circle of life thrives because its leaders understand when to act and when to allow growth to unfold naturally. Stories begin to spread not of battles won, but of a kingdom where leadership is shared, respected, and renewed. Travelers speak of a land where a king listens and a guardian teaches, where power serves purpose, not ego, where the future is not feared, but prepared for. As years pass, Simba spends more time observing than directing. He watches the sun rise and set, reflecting on how far the Pride Lands have come. He understands now that leadership is temporary, but impact is lasting. The circle of life does not remember names. It remembers balance. Keon stands among the next generation, no longer just a leader, but a guide. He encourages questions, welcomes new ideas, and reminds others that strength without compassion is incomplete. He knows that one day others will stand where he stands now. And that is exactly how it should be. Shared. In a quiet moment beneath the open sky, Simba and Keon stand together once more. No words are needed. The land speaks for them. The wind carries understanding. The future feels steady. The question of who is the better leader no longer matters, because the Pride Lands have learned the answer was never singular. Leadership is not about comparison. It is about responsibilities shared. Twos. About wisdom passed forward. Twos. It is about courage balanced with compassion. Simba and Keon each carried the truth in their own way. One through restoration. One through protection. One through patience. One through action. Together, They ensured that the circle of life did more than survive. It evolved. And as the sun rises once more over the Pride Lands, illuminating a future shaped by unity and purpose, the lesson remains eternal. True leadership is not about ruling forever. It is about preparing others to rise. And because of that, the circle of life shines on.